Ashish Kumar Chauhan, CEO MD at the largest exchange, NSE. My colleague Yash Jain caught up with the other exchange MD and CEO, BSE, the oldest in Asia, Mr. Sundararaman Ramamurthy. He's, of course, been on a drive to revive the exchange. BSE, of course, is listed, and it has done exceedingly well for investors as a stock as well. Let's listen in to some of those comments.
ये तो वक्त ही बताएगा. फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल हैप्पी दिवाली टू यू. शुभकामनाएं हैं हमारी तरफ से आपके लिए और आपके दर्शकों के लिए. 2081 निराश करेगा ये हमारी उम्मीद है बिकॉज ऑफ ऑल द इकोनॉमिक. निराश नहीं करेगा ये हमारी उम्मीद है बिकॉज ऑफ ऑल द पैरामीटर्स दैट वी आर सीइंग. द म्यूचुअल फंड इज गोइंग वंडरफul and stupendous growth. 188 lakh crores market capitalization increase has been significantly contributed by the mutual fund.
Correct.
And any parameter that you take, whether it is capital raising or whether it is the GDP growth, the monsoon, everything appears positive. So therefore it is a clear estimate from my side that 2081 will be a bountiful year as well for the investors.
Correct. As we've seen in the Indian markets, and particularly in the last 1.5 years, domestic investors are large owners of this market now as compared to how it used to be in terms of foreign investors. What I want to understand is that in the coming year, do you expect new investors to continue to join the Indian equity markets and believe in the story at the same strong pace that it has done? And mutual fund inflows also, SIP, to continue in the same disciplined fashion and with maturity as it did in the previous years?
Of course, yes. Given the demographic profile of the country and given the real GDP growth rate that we are having and given the controlled inflation that we are having in the country, and I certainly feel more and more youth will be joining the bandwagon of financialisation of their savings, and in that process I am sure that mutual fund will continue to see a very good, steady, nicely growing inflow, and therefore the market getting fueled further.
Okay, I want to have a word of caution from your end also. In the last 1 year, we've heard the market regulator talking about two important things. One is the increasing exuberance in the FNO market where people don't understand the risks but still participate in it. That is one. After which there were restrictions also that came in from the regulator. And the second one is on the SME IPO side. Again, elevated levels of exuberance, companies without reading, understanding, investments coming in on both those sides. What will be your word of caution as the custodian of the oldest stock exchange in the country?
The country's economic growth and also the development of the markets has been one of the major factors that you could attribute for this is the regulatory framework in India. The preamble very clearly talks about protection of investor interest, and SEBI has done wonderfully a lot of mechanisms and principles and policies which has helped in the growth of the investors in this country. I therefore feel that the investors are very well protected in the market. One advice what I would always give, or rather a few advices if I could say, as what I will give to the investors of the country is that you understand what you trade and you trade what you understand. If one of those conditions is not fulfilled, please don't get into it. And the risk appetites are different for different people. You assess your risk appetite and your risk tolerance and accordingly trade. For beginners, it will always be better to go into a collective investment scheme like mutual fund because somebody else is thinking for you. And if you were to opt to say a large cap, big size mutual fund, then clearly somebody else is doing diversification for you. Somebody else is looking at the portfolio changes for you. That's a safer way for you to invest into the market if you're a novice and if you don't understand risk much.
Okay, all right. So if you don't understand risk much, maybe you want to go through the mutual fund route, which has proven to be obviously very, very lucrative for so many investors around the country. We'll take a break on that note.